Alright, here we are back. We've got just some regular black pepper, salt, non-iodized. Don't use iodine salt on there, it'll make your meat funky. Garlic powder, onion powder, and some cayenne pepper. So what I like to do is I just like to spread this out a little bit. You don't have to be fancy or anything, it's beef jerky. Take a little bit of salt across the top, little garlic powder, little onion powder, you want to get a little bit of spice, right? A little kick, little black pepper, and people put, there's a lot of people that will put a lot of energy into this, and it's beef jerky, folks. It's dried meat. It's not a gourmet food. I don't think it's ever been a gourmet food. Anyway, I just kind of do that. Now, the salt helps draw the moisture out of the meat. So those didn't get cut on the back side. Look at that. See that? I didn't cut all the way through them. Just cut my strips and didn't finish them. But you can pull it off like that, and then there's another big piece for the chili party. So then I do a little bit more powders, my onion and garlic powders, and then some cayenne pepper. To me, I can't have enough cayenne pepper, actually. I don't like it super hot, but if I get a really nice hot piece, I'm happy about it. A little bit more salt. Remember, salt draws the moisture out, and then the first few hours the moisture's drawn out, and then it's replaced back in. And that's pretty good for spices. I mean, that's going to be really, really tasty for the spices. Now what you want to do is you want to add just a small amount of Worcestershire sauce. Not much, just a couple sprinkles of fish sauce. This is Worcestershire sauce. This gives you a little bit deeper, darker flavor to it. It's also Worcestershire sauce is MSG, not really MSG. Worcestershire sauce is a product. MSG is a product of Worcestershire sauce. Worcestershire sauce is, or MSG is a concentrated Worcestershire sauce. That's exactly what it is. And so this actually will help tenderize the meat a little bit. There's not a lot on there, so it's not going to do a huge amount, and plus you want it a little bit chewy. Now some might say, Shippin', what are you doing, man? I'm going to cook my beans with that. Well, that's good. You can cook your beans with it. It'll just add flavor to your beans. You don't want bland meat in your beans, necessarily. I certainly don't. So after that's all done, now you want to put a little bit of brown sugar in it. Make sure your brown sugar is really dark. Mine's real dark. That means it has molasses in it. Some people, I think, very few of my close associates confuse brown sugar with raw sugar. Brown sugar is not raw sugar. I repeat, brown sugar is not raw sugar. Brown sugar is white sugar with molasses on it. That's all it is. They add molasses to it. So you want to break these up a little bit. We keep our brown sugar in the freezer, a frost-free freezer, and it keeps it dried out. You don't have to reseal it. Keeps the ants away from it, of course, but for the most part, it dries the sugar out. And it makes it much, much easier to use for baking, keeping it in the freezer. But you want to mix that around like that, just like that. And see, that's kind of dry, right? It's very dry. You don't want wet. You put Worcestershire in there, but this should be enough salt and enough sugar. And all you're going to do is you're going to bag it. Just get a bread bag or a bag, whatever you want. You're going to take this and put it in the bag, and you're going to leave it overnight. You're going to let the juices creep out of it, and the sugars and the salts and the spices will creep inside of it, giving you some nice flavor. And then tomorrow morning, you're going to take this bag out, let it dry. You're going to spread everything out on a plate, let it dry, and dehydrate it. We'll show you that tomorrow. Alright, so now you've got your beef jerky out of the refrigerator from your bag. It's been soaking all night. You've turned it a couple times maybe, if you'd like. And you're going to take it out, and you're going to spread it out on a piece of paper towel. And you're going to let it just drip. So you can see, look, if you look at this close, I don't know if you can see it or not, but you can see the spices that are on there. Piece of seed from the pepper, and that'll all stay on there. But you need to get these spread out a little bit, and this paper towel will absorb a lot of the moisture, because if you put them on the dehydrator like this, it will just add time to your drying ability. And then when you come back, I'm going to show you how I put them on the dehydrator, and then we're going to go. Now these, you can also cook these in the oven. You need to make sure it's the lowest setting you can possibly get, like warm. Certainly don't want 180, you don't want to cook it. I've smoked these on the grill before. They're delicious, but very hard to control the temperature. So most of your meat is actually smoked instead of dehydrated. The difference is that's cooked meat instead of dehydrated meat. Alright, so we're going to do that, and then we'll come back and show you what the other's like. So what I did just to show you is I ran out of room, so you can just put the paper towel on top of, you know, the other meat, and then you're good to go. You can just make as many layers as you want. Just let that sit there and just dry out. You'll see it won't be as shiny. It will be more dull, and then you'll be ready to put it on the dehydrator. Get out of there. Also, if you don't have plenty of air for it to circulate, you end up having to turn them. And when you cook them, you're trying to dry them out. Any kind of fat will, instead of drying over time, will end up rendering. And that makes a mess. It gets all over the outside of the meat. So your chances for spoilage kind of skyrocket. I think that's why a lot of people cut the fat off, because they don't actually dehydrate their meat, they're actually cooking it. And so when you do that, your chance for failure goes up, because it gets all over the meat. The fat will saturate each piece of jerky, and now you got a fat layer on top of your jerky. That's not good. Alright, so now you've got it layered, and you want the layers to be crosswise from each other. So that layer's going that way, and that layer's going that way. That assists a great deal in airflow. If you put them all the same way, you'll have what I call stacking, and then the meat doesn't dry thoroughly, doesn't dry properly. So you want it to alternate like that. Look at how much moisture came out on the towel. So see, if you didn't do that, then that moisture would be dripping inside of your dehydrator. Now all you got to do is put the lid on and plug it in, and there, a couple hours, 8 hours, 10 hours, whatever it takes, it's done. You can test it. Every now and again you can take one of these little pieces off and Stick that in your mouth and yum, test it. But that's it. Beef jerky by shipping. I'm out.